2018. New year, new me. This is the one where everything goes right. Everything's looking up from here. I can't wait to see what this year brings us.
Did you guys hear that some YouTuber named Logan Paul went into the woods and found a dead body and decided to post it on his YouTube channel, which is like a kid's channel?
We tried. 2019 it is. See you then.
At least there's puppies, right?
Hey! To the puppies.
You don't wanna know. Her skin is electric to the touch. You can let it go. She's throwing her weight without a crutch. Don't you wanna know what's already causing such a fuss? Can you let it go? Just open your eyes.
All right, that works.
It works.
It works.
That's the defining characteristic of all of our intros.
I mean, it works because we put them at the start of our show, so you know they must be some kind of thing.
They technically qualify as
What?
such.
Well, hear me out. What if we put the end at the beginning? Huh? They got something going there, right?
Yeah, Andrew, go ahead, try that one out in post, and I'll just leave it to you to decide if you think it works or not. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do it. Was that? Are we back in the show?
Yeah, we're in the
I
show.
think we leave all that in.
We just
Yeah. Okay.
New year, new us.
New year, new
Get
us.
all of it.
New year,
Hey,
no
whoa,
editing.
whoa. Yeah, hold on. For the record, New Year, exact same birds. I'm not changing even a little bit. I like what I got going on.
Wait, so
It's fine. I can live with
hold
it.
up. So I guess I was going to ask Bones this, but you don't have any resolutions? You don't have anything you're working on in the 2018?
Nope. Exact repeat of what I did in 2017. Just more. Just even more. No, I just have a house now, which is still just crazy. So that is my New Year's resolution now.
Yeah,
just
that's a
forever.
thing.
Just to keep having a house?
deal with it.
Just don't lose it.
Yeah. Don't get lost on the way home and go to some other house. It's pretty all consuming. Yeah.
I've done that before.
Yeah, I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions. I do believe in the fact that
Bones believes in New Year's revolutions.
Oh,
Get
hell
ready,
yeah.
America.
there's 3 problems in America. Just kidding. No, I don't believe in like, all right, this year I'm not going to have a single soda because I'll just do that on my own time. I do believe that post Thanksgiving through Christmas through New Year's is like, I'm with family. It's cold. I don't work out ever, less than never working out. And I eat so much food. So I do believe in January being a good time to be like, God damn it, eat better. So I am starting that where like, yeah, for the last week, like I haven't been terrible. And me and my girlfriend are trying to like get a little more active and stuff like that. We got some stuff planned for the weekend. So yeah, I'm like doing that whole, let's get in shape, but that's more of just like you really put that off for all of 2017. So you owe it to yourself now. It's not a resolution. I didn't decide it because of the year. Anyway, Swain, do you have any?
No, not really.
Hell yeah. Welcome to Crucible
More
Radio.
Destiny. I want to be able to play more Destiny in 2018. Boom.
Beautiful.
Speaking of Destiny, we're the podcast for all things Destiny 2 PvP.
Crucible.
We like all parts of the game. I know Swain's been doing some PvE.
Oh, so much PvE.
We also like talking about the Crucible and how we can get better and help our listeners improve along the way as well. And yeah, I hope I get better this year. We'll see. Maybe not.
Probably not. No, I mean, there's plenty to get better at in 2018 as far as Destiny goes. A lot of you have either made the switch or are starting with PC, so there's plenty of things to learn on that side. I know I still have plenty.
And there's a lot of grinding to be done too. Like I've got my warlock to the last story mission, and I'm just like, it's so difficult to play them at this point. I can just see
having
it.
done
I can just
them
see goal
already,
in the distance.
like 3 times on PS4. I still have the one character on PC, and I'm okay. who can I pay to grind out the story?
Oh, they just these missions just lose something after you've been forced to play them for the 6th or 9th time.
It is kind of fun speedrunning them.
Close. It is. Yeah, you just run past everyone. And also, I've just made a point because I want to like kit up my warlock. That's the last one. Just kit him upright as soon as kit her upright. After she hits 20, you can start getting those legendaries. And so I've just been saving all of my vendor tokens, and I just have giant stacks of all of them. And I'm going to cash them all in on one crazy spree as her 20th level present.
That'll be up on our YouTube next week. Check out Birds cashing in.
Sick loot opening video.
Not even loot boxes, not even Eververse, just straight up like, hey, turning in some stuff. Oh, cool. 4 new cities.
Hello, Sloan. I'll tell you when I've had enough.
Yeah.
I also found my new favorite shader.
What's that?
Dawning Hope. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't I only have like 3 of them. Like I've got all the other Dawning ones, but this one is so precious. I just don't like, I use them like very carefully on guns. I really want to kit out an armor set, but it's just like silver and gold and darker silver camo. It just looks so dope. I love it.
It's very reminiscent of White Tiger from D1. It kind of reminds me of that, but it throws in that gold streak, which makes you look really fancy. I'm obsessed with a lot of the new shaders. Metallic Sunrise is probably my favorite, but low key, the new Trials shader is awesome. And I didn't really even think that, oh yeah, thered be a new Trials shader in season 2, but it's called Benevolence of the Nine. And you do have to get it from, engrams at the Spire, but it's worth it. It has like this like shiny white blue like Trials, but it reflects red. Like if it hits other light, you see like this shiny pink red, and it's like, it's brilliant, man.
I swear, I just like the lighting effects on shaders. I will never get over it in this game.
Yeah.
It's just, that is the end game for me.
Also, a thing I can't get over, like I think this is my thing, is putting the appropriate faction shader on a faction weapon. So like getting a Haka weapon and putting Haka history on it is like extremely satisfying to me. Or I have, Vanguard Discipline on my mate ingredient. So it's like you get that old kind of beat up gun that they give you, and then you get this fresh coat of paint, but it still matches the theme and it looks so good. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, Haka camo, that's a solid ass shit.
Yeah, that's a good
all voiced all the time.
Oh, Swain, my boy. Swain, my boy. We're in good company here. Swain, I heard you had a case of the drops, of the hot drops going on. Not what it sounds like. Not that.
Oh boy.
You don't want that one.
I ate some bad.
That was bad.
Mexican food, and it did not go well.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
tell me all about your hot drops. And also tell me after that, tell me about the things you got in Destiny.
I have had a very amazing string of luck this week with Masterworks weapons, because I've finally been able to pry myself away from this puppy and play some video games. And I've done some grinding this week, a lot of PvE, a lot of catching up on those gifts. Oh my God, those.
When you sent me that tip someone sent you of when you need the alkane spores, and so you just move it
back
from
and
your
forth,
vault back and forth. Thank you, internet person. I
didn't get that tip until I was done. Like 2 hours of running around circles. Anyway, I spent a lot of time this week running around in circles. Got myself a lot of Masterworks, and here's the quick list. I got Better Devils, Soul Pariah, Tarantula, The New City.
Sorry.
Tarantula, I'm sorry.
Happened to me. Tarantula, yeah. I appreciate the Tarantula. That means a lot to me.
Directed by Quentin Tarantula.
The Old Fashioned and Black Scorpion.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
all
a bad haul.
Masterworks.
Not a bad haul.
Not
Yeah.
a bad haul.
Yeah, well, I got Zephyr, the Dawning Sword Masterwork. Suck it! I hate that you can't show off the one that you got. Not that I hate it, but it's kind of funny. Like, I look at a Masterwork and I'm just like, yeah, no, I have this rare Masterwork. And it's like anyone could make that. And there's no proof that I didn't make it. Anyways, continue.
I got a Deadpan Delivery Masterwork, and I only use it in PV, but it's like a Masterwork I actually wanted to keep.
I will say the combination of the Black Scorpion and the reload speed increase for the Masterworks, and then the Solar Titan, reload speed increase.
Yeah.
It is very, very fast, and it's great for PvE.
Kind of a lot.
It's all right for a PvP because of the reload speed. You get like a very long distance weird auto rifle.
Yeah, just remember, just empty them all the way out. You get the spray and play boost. Just shoot at a wall. Well, I finally broke my unlucky streak with SMGs in D2 period, and actually got some SMGs that weren't Foggy Notions. I got the Soul Pariah. Did not need any RNG for that. Got that one all by myself. But I also got, finally a non-blue version of this type of gun. I got an Atalanta D.
Yeah.
I like this one. I like it a lot. I would almost consider masterworking it.
I have a Masterwork Atalanta. I keep calling it Atlanta.
Of course.
Sorry. But it's right in my wheelhouse of SMGs. I can't stop using Stochastic Variable with the Tap the Trigger perk, which Atlanta also has. It's perfectly smooth if you're using that perk correctly. So it's a strong one.
And a couple other drops as well. I got a Jack Queen King, which I like it in the Crucible. It's functional. But also the new Trials Auto, The Last Breath. I am liking this gun. Bonesy, do you have one of these?
I do. I think I threw it in the vault, just hadn't used it as much. I do think Ambitious Assassin is an underrated perk. I don't really know for PvP as much, but it's got two interesting choices. All of the Trials ones with Slide Shot. I'm always wondering if I should use that one, but Dynamic Sway Reduction is also really good. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to that.
I just more than the perks, I just like the way it feels. It's got an interesting sort of recoil to it. That's very tick 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 tick. Yeah, if you got one in your vault, pull it out, give it a shot.
Man, I haven't been playing much PvP outside of Mayhem because I'm trying to get it in while it's still here. And it is so silly. It's one of those things that's like the ultimate kick back and relax type of situations, even though it is just it's Mayhem. But I've been enjoying seeing all of the Solar Titans out there.
Man,
in Mayhem.
Solar dominates. It's kind of crazy. Everything's on fire now. And you'll occasionally see some Night Stalkers. I think Night Stalker can be really fun in Mayhem if you're trying to play more sneaky and just avoid the explosions. But you see Gunslingers, Sunsingers, and Dawnblades, and it's kind of awesome that everything is just burning.
You know what I think, Bones? I think that this few weeks of Mayhem is gonna slightly change the meta for Titans. In the fact that so many people got to play Sunbreaker the past few weeks, and they enjoyed it, and they got to use the super a ton and see how much fun it is and how efficient it can be. So I bet you'll see a lot more in regular Crucible.
I got to admit to a dumb thought I had, but playing Mayhem and just dying to Sunbreakers because of the explosion on the super is insane, because it pops and you can't even really see it half the time because there's either too much going on or the hammer sort of lands where you're not looking, but it bounces outward, does this outward secondary explosion, and that thing will, if you touch it, you're dead. You're evaporated. And that's really strong ability-wise compared to all the other powerful stuff we have. I mean, that's stronger than a Golden Gun Blast, a 6-shooter, because you got to 2-tap someone in their super. But if you're in your super and you get hit by that secondary explosion, blah, like you're just dead. And I feel like there's a couple times I'm like, damn, that's powerful. And Swain, if exactly what you said does happen, that everyone realizes this super's so good, I feel like people are going to start hating that. And I was hating it for a second. Then I'm like, shut up, Bones. Like, just deal with it. But it is a really, really strong ability, and it makes the Sunbreaker super potential to team wipe consistently.
It's really tough because like you can't, like if you get hit by the first one and somehow survive, you will not escape. It literally explodes in all of the directions around you.
Yeah.
So there's really no hope for you. And at the most, you're going to get like some collateral damage on your teammates that are, if they're too close to you. So yeah, team wipes are super easy with Sunbreaker.
I had sort of a similar experience with Dawnblade, just because you get so much practice using your super in a competitive environment, like you're saying, that it was like, all right, I'm going to figure out how to consistently pull this sword thing off. That's one super where I find it, and like maybe this is just me, I find it more difficult to do on a controller than on mouse and keyboard. Something about mouse and keyboard just I don't know, it feels like a little more consistent to pull off. But yeah, and that's just like one I just never would have really touched despite your endorsement of it, Bones. Because yeah, you get one a game to practice. It doesn't go that well if you're not very good at it. And yeah, you just stop using it.
Yeah, it's funny because I think in Mayhem, I've been switching to the top tree on Dawnblade to get that, the surge perk with the melee kills and of course air dodge in that super means you can survive if there are lots of hammers flying through the air. But it is noticeable how not how much you lose your tracking on the blades when you throw them versus the lower tree where stuff just kind of auto seeks out. And not to say that you have to rely on that to make it good, but it's like, oh yeah, I gotta aim. And it's just, I'm like dodging around and throwing it. And I throw my swords so quickly when I'm switching around on classes now. So when I go from hammers to swords, I'm like, oh yeah. This one lasts longer. Pace your shots, like hit them and aim. Yeah, even with both kill trees, like you got to aim.
When the sword like does like the spiral, that always messes me up. Like right at the end, I'm like,
Yeah. And it's just the difference between like the sort of simplicity of throwing hammers and trusting the explosion will get them versus like, I want to extend my super by hitting more targets. I can't throw 3 swords at one guy. That wastes most of my super kind of thing. And that's just the side effect from playing so much Mayhem, trying to, grind through each class individually. But yeah, it paints a different picture when you compare them.
I learned something else from Mayhem as well, which is don't sit on your like abilities and stuff that you have. Like there will be times still playing just regular, quick play or whatever, where it's like, yeah, I'm on my Warlock or something. And it's just like, I should use this rift. I don't think to use my rift the moment I get one. And then in Mayhem where you have a rift just continually at all times, just ready to drop a rift. It's good chance to practice using your things. Get another one. It's just going to grow back. Just chop it off. It'll grow right back. Let's say that's a haircut metaphor instead of anything else.
Sure.
Instead of a lizard tail metaphor.
There you go.
Oh, we're on a roll.
I call it a lizard tail.
Okay. I steered it away. We brought it right back.
Well, we are eventually going to get to the topic of the evening. I feel like we've got a really extended segue coming up for this topic. But before we get to that, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor this week. It's the one, the only Casper Mattresses.
Ooh, Casper. Man, every time we record, it is late night, and I'm always thinking about my mattress.
Yeah, you just hear it singing its mattress siren song in the distance. Come to me, Swain.
It sounds like a Neanderthal. Come to me.
Casper, wait, look, guys, they don't actually do that. They only do that in a sleep-deprived state, and even then, you can't catch it on audio tape. Casper is a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience one night at a time. That's how I sleep, one night at a time.
I try and sleep 2 nights at a time.
That seems really efficient.
Casper has 3 mattress models: the original, the Wave, and the Essential.
Oh my.
And Casper mattresses are perfectly designed to soothe and cradle your natural geometry. I got plenty of natural geometry.
Yeah, check out the natural geometry on that swain over there. Hey, and not to mention, it's got a breathable design that helps you sleep cool and regulates your body temperature throughout the night. I live in Southern California. It gets hot here, but you better believe that Casper helps. And it's so easy. It's delivered right to your door in a small, how do they do that size box with free shipping and returns in the US and Canada.
The best part is that you can be sure of your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free sleep on it trial. After all, you spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, so you should be comfortable while doing so.
Ever since I got my Casper mattress, I have loved sleeping on it. But, we moved recently. Ooh. And it was a long day. Bonesy can attest. A lot of trips back and forth. Our house just looked like a storage locker with everything leaned up against the walls. But that first night in the new place, you better believe we got that Casper set up first thing.
The first thing.
I slept so easily, like just surrounded by boxes. But in the middle is the Casper mattress. And you know what? I got a great night's sleep that night, just like every other night.
Now we're building out our guest room soon, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, oh man, I love our Casper mattress, and I'm thinking about getting one for our guest room because I want everybody to enjoy being in our house. Anyway.
You got to try it. It's so easy. You can start sleeping ahead of the curve with Casper. You can get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/crucible and using Crucible at checkout.
Crucible.
It's casper.com/crucible. Offer code Crucible for $50 off your mattress purchase. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, so did you guys hear that Neanderthals actually had smaller natural geometry?
Yeah, that's why they died out. No one's into that.
No one wanted to listen to a high-pitched, weird-bodied Neanderthal.
Wow.
All I can think about is the fact that I watched a thing today about how Neanderthals had smaller, like, vocal cords.
Dicks.
Oh.
So they spoke in a high-pitched voice, and there was a video of the guy speaking as a Neanderthal, like what it would sound like. And they apparently could only speak in really loud and, like, really, really loud and really, really loud.
Wait, I actually have that clip. Hold on, let me play it on my phone. Why are they so crispy?
1, 2, 3. That's all I can think about.
God, our history sucks.
Anyways, if you're still listening at this point, you're probably wondering.
If you're still listening at this point, that means you evolved from a high-pitched little dork that lived in the woods. It also means that you've made it to our major topic for this episode,
1.0
which was
KD.
Probably made clear in the title that I cleverly came up with seconds before posting this online. Wait, no, I came up with the title a while ago. Damn it.
Yeah, you're getting weirdly meta on it.
Wasted joke. Wasted joke. All right, I'm scrolling back to where I actually came up with the name for this. Where is it? When did this happen? Look, it's a new year, and that means the trends are changing. Or staying the same. But either way, you don't want to fall off trend. You got to know what's good. You got to know what's fashionable. And it's been a while since we've talked about fashion on this show. And what I'm referring to in fashion is exotic armor. Now, we've done a lot of reviews in the past. We've done full episodes where we give report cards. We give each single piece an A+ all the way down to a F-. How low did we go?
We did S. We did S tier.
is the top.
Yes, right. We went all the way up to S tier. But this is not going to be a report card for every single piece. We're just going to select the hottest looks of 2018 for each class. Because you know what? You don't need to worry if it makes you look bad.
Hottest looks, we kind of talk about how it looks good and works good.
Yeah.
Not just...
I mean, we're mostly talking about it working good, and it just looks good because you look good when you feel good, and you feel good when your exotic is working for you, right?
We'll give some shout outs to the pieces of armor that do look the best. That may not have made our list based on performance, but anyways, it's time to talk about exotic armor and what you should be wearing in the Crucible, and maybe we'll try to argue some up and try to argue some down. As opposed to just stating most of the obvious that everyone might think they know about.
All right, so this exotic armor, we got some lists going here, and look, we all play a bunch of different classes, but we've got our areas of expertise, as you well know. Warlock, Hunter, and Titan. Who's up first?
I think Warlock is first, right, Bonesy?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to try to make a real simple case. And maybe Birds will try to squeeze in some other gear on the list. But look, I think there are runners up and then the good choices and maybe even good choice. A lot of the Warlock armor really focuses on cooldowns and kind of cycling through abilities. And so you've got stuff like Eye of Another World, Nezarec Sin, and even the Stag that are and Tempest, the Crown, they're all sort of use abilities, get kills with them, get more energy back. And that can be good as just a thing to put on and keep those cooldowns lower, basically. Because you're going to get ability kills as you play, no matter what. Those are fine. I think you can just focus on little better passives, because I think in a world where cooldowns are slower and your grenade is not so immediately going to turn the game around, that you can focus on passives that are just happening every single second. And so the reason I think second place, I'll put something like Transversive Steps.
I like that one.
That's something that you can focus on and know is applying to your game. And it's using, it's giving you a boost in an area of this game where you could really use it to your advantage, like sprint speed, because maybe it plays a little slower. It's about positioning. Your flanks matter a lot more, and you got to get there in time, because you can't just run around a corner and shotgun 3 people instantly. You've got to have the reaction time and stuff like that. Sprint speed is great for that. But I think
it's also got the energy weapon automatically reloaded perk on it as well. You got to take advantage of it, but hey, not nothing. Definitely not nothing.
I will give that perk some points, because there's a topic I've been hyping up for a while that I really want to talk about eventually, about the cycling through of energy weapon, reload speed, moving quickly, refueling, and there's multiple builds that I use for that. But ammo in your energy weapon is certainly great for an aggressive play style where you don't have to hang back and reload your hand cannon or your SMG just to keep pushing in. You can empty your kinetic and immediately switch back to your energy, and you're ready to go. That's awesome. But hands down, the hottest look of 2018 for Warlocks right now is Ophidian Aspect. And I freaked the F out when I saw this was back in Curse of Osiris. I don't think anyone knew, right? It wasn't like previewed or anything.
No.
And it was just that first day at work, like someone tweeted like, I got this to drop. And I was like, they're back. The snakes are back. It's got a pretty standard split. It doesn't throw off too much. It does give you an extra stat point in resilience if you want, and that's always nice. But it's not, it's different from D1. D1, it was giving you every arms mod you could possibly have, grenade throw distance, which is no longer RIP. But its exotic perk is incredible. Its weapons ready and reload very quickly, and melee range is extended. That extended melee range kind of snuck in there. And great tests done by Fallout. If you need to check out his channel, or if you haven't seen this yet, that they are not quite Syntheseps level, but they are great. They are basically the full extent of a Stormcaller's charged melee, which, as we all know, has always been strong. And that's awesome. But weapons ready and reload speed, I mean, it just covers so many mods that you're going to put on your armor. It totally changes up what I started searching for when I was collecting gear and stuff like that. I'm no longer worried about I got to get kinetic reload speed, and that's so hard to come by, energy, all that sort of thing. No, just look for, boosts to your recovery and boosts to your armor. I don't know, ability cooldowns if you're that kind of player, but it just made that search so easy, and it's an obvious choice right at the top.
I want those Ophidian aspects so bad. I don't have them yet. I do have to say something about Transversus Steps, which for me, they might be the prettiest Warlock exotic. I just love how they take shaders.
Yeah.
But I noticed something interesting hearing you talk about these is that, and you're right, you got Eye of Another World, you got Nezarec Sin, you've got all these cooldown boosters, basically. These two are interesting, both in that they're different. But look, these are both exotics that support an aggressive Warlock playstyle. I mean, Ophidian aspect, right? It's pumping up your melee. It's giving you super fast ready and reload. That's not relevant if you're hanging way in the back playing conservative. That is an aggressive playstyle. I mean, same thing for Transversive Steps, right? You've got the energy reload and you've got the sprint speed. And when you sort of think about a Warlock playstyle, you don't quite have the same kind of in-air mobility as the other classes. Your class ability is, you got the Rift. It's a very sort of anchored, very static ability. It's not surprising to me that the two exotics you pick are things that really challenge that kind of play style and open it up to aggressive Crucible play, which is what gets you wins when you do it smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, playing aggressively, everyone thinks it's hard to do, and it's not. It's just it requires that sort of awareness of your perks, what you're running, your cooldowns, and all that, and how can you cycle through. I mean, these are what so much pieces of gear and weapons are designed for, which is use it in this situation and it'll work better and give you this advantage, and you can cycle through. And playing aggressively, you start to feel that way more than you ever feel it, just kind of, hanging back and picking away. And sometimes, do that job. If you have an angle and you can hit someone from far away, it has to be done. But there's going to be bigger swings and bigger plays if you can start getting more comfortable up close and making those aggressive plays and not thinking, oh no, I can't go around this corner without full health. Better throw my Rift down and wait for a while. Sometimes it's the right call. Most of the time, that fast decision, getting in there and breaking up a hold is much more important. So yeah, aggressive play styles for sure.
There are plenty of other Warlock exotics. Any honorable mentions that we haven't talked to? What about the Stag? Stag was one that I thought okay, this one has got some potential. I haven't had it drop yet. Certainly haven't played it on PC. Have you tried this one? What do you think?
I do have the Stag. I just got it this week. And that being said, not a lot of straight up Crucible time on my Warlocks, simply because Mayhem and I used my Hunter and Titan in trials this weekend. Of course, preparing for the show where I need to know this stuff. But I will say that the Stag is better now than it was. Unfortunately, its crux, its problem, is one I kind of struggle with. So the new perk, it's called Dearly Departed, and it grants Rift energy when you are critically wounded. On your death, creates a brief healing rift on your corpse. I like that. That's pretty cool as a perk. Definitely cooler than the last perk, which is an overshield or supercharge. But the thing is, that means it's relying on dying. Yeah. And I don't mean to say that I never die or that you should focus on never dying, because obviously, but I don't know if that's where I want my benefit going. I only experience 50% of this exotic if I die. And then again, hopefully they're not standing on my dead corpse and getting destroyed by whatever grenade was there. Like there's a lot of scenarios
sounds-
where you don't want to be where your teammate just died.
Yeah, right.
If that
It
makes
sounds
sense.
like a good survival exotic. So that not survival, more so countdown. So
Yeah.
that you can get the res and you're standing on the dead person's rift.
Well, that's interesting.
I think that's tough because like I don't know if the rift's there when you're getting a res because there's like a 15-second
Yeah.
cooldown on it. But with countdown, you're right because there's a lot more stationary play if a rift is currently charged, meaning like you have no option. It's not run around to the other side of the map and choose your engagement over there. It's like we got to make a play here. So if you do have that rift and your team's job is to defuse that point, you don't want to back up. So yeah, I could see it being effective in that scenario. And yeah, the stag is definitely an exotic that's always been better in more tactical team play rather than just straight up quick play. I don't think anyone's even going to notice your dead body's rift in quick play because they're charging around with whatever. But yeah, there is some utility to it, and I'll give it a fair shake before I vault it. It also looks fucking cool.
It does, although Anklet did point out that with a lot of armor, it looks like it's riding a little low, like you sort of like your head is turtling into your turtleneck.
Well, it's a mask. Like it's not the helmet. You're not inside the skull, like the skull of Ahamkara. There's literally like a big, like you took that mask off the wall and put it on the front of your face. I don't know. It looks spooky.
Fair enough. It does look spooky.
I like it.
Very spooky. All right. Anything else for Warlock, or does that about cover it?
Look, those two are just so solid. I think it's all you really need. If you don't have the snakes, go ahead and run Transversive Steps. Maybe I'll give a point to Nezarec Sin for the Void ability cooldown charge if you're using it on a Voidwalker, because we all know Devour Voidwalkers are nasty. But maybe you want snakes for melee range to proc that Devour anyways. So, yeah. That's it.
Hard to argue. All right. Well, I should probably talk about hunters, shouldn't I?
You're going to have to at some point.
Yeah, I suppose it's coming. I have some thoughts about hunters, and I have to acknowledge that for me, there is one clear head and shoulders winner that, you know, if I want to win, I will run this exotic, but I understand that may be playstyle specific. It's not for everybody. So maybe talk me down off this one. For me, and I'm gonna go from best to worst, I think. For me, the best hunter exotic, without question, is Knucklehead Radar. Having your radar 24/7, never losing your radar, is a huge game changer. I mean, you were talking about it earlier, like having that awareness of what's going on around you, knowing the moment you have to reposition and not dilly-dallying because you thought you had a second, no one's, flanking around behind you. It's just so good. Even if you're in the thick of it and all you're using it for is just to even just count the number of enemies that are around you, or knowing, if you're getting pinched, which direction your out is. It's so useful. It is. I kind of can't believe it exists in the game in this form. I just see a huge lift to my gameplay, and the moment I go back to other classes, I just miss it. I miss it so much. 'Cause you just don't have that same de-scope and let your radar come back option that you had in D1. I mean, it just takes a second. So it's got to be the one for me. That's the call. But I could be convinced otherwise, as a general purpose list. That one of these other ones is a contender. I think next up, we've got the Dragon Shadow. This one, if you're not familiar, it grants increased movement and weapon handling speed for a short time after dodging. And this is, it's not a 24/7 passive like Knucklehead Radar. This is going to come into play when you're dodging. And maybe you're you're new to Hunter and you're not quite leaning on the dodge, as soon as it's available. But for me, this is really complementary to the way I tend to use dodging, which is I have overcommitted to this particular shootout and I need to bail. And especially when you're running Way of the Wind, Bottom Tree, Arc Strider, where you get a little bit of shots miss you or you can tank more damage or whatever during your dodge. That's where I started using it like that. And this is hugely in support of that. You're going to get a quick boost to your movement to get you back into cover, get you out of the line of fire. And in all likelihood, if you're using it at this time, you need to reload, or maybe you want to swap to another weapon so you're ready for that engagement. It is a very solid utility exotic, and it works no matter which subclass you're running, which cannot be said for all of these.
Yeah, that's what I would say. That's probably the hardest thing to figure out is like, am I going to go subclass specific? Because a lot of them just tweak subclasses, or am I going to go with the ones that like buff it all around, like get you melee range? It seems to be the most common one.
I love a passive ability.
Well, I mean, and I really work to find an exotic that's going to not just give me some boost I may or may not notice, but change my play style, right? Like when I've got Knucklehead Raider on, I'm going to play Hunter differently. If I keep it on for long enough, that's going to be my Hunter play style, and everything from when I use my grenades to when I do my dodge. All of these things are going to support that. So having to swap that out every time you want to, run a different subclass, if you know what you like, stick with
subclass?
It. Yeah, I know, right? Who does that?
No, I mean, it makes sense, right?
I mean, I'm also the guy who eats the exact same thing for lunch every day, so that's me. This next one, Bonesy, you told me to put this on the list. I have not gotten this one to drop yet, but I am curious. Certainly, they look fantastic, but tell me what it is you like about Gemini Jester. This one, your dodge disorients nearby enemies and temporarily removes their radar.
Oh, it is annoying.
That's why. That's right there. Because you notice it. And, when I first got these, I was like, these look cool as fuck. But
yeah, they do.
That can't possibly come up enough. And what's this range like? Because it kind of made me worry if we talk about, speaking of Arc Strider, that perk to recharge your melee when you're close to enemies and have it be more powerful. And, theoretically, you just roll punch, but that's, virtually impossible to execute most of the time. I was worried about that, and it turns out I go into trials and I roll just to reload, to back up, and I noticed the little 2 proc on the screen. So it actually gives you like a little damage indicator if you've triggered the perk where you disorient someone. And I was like, wow, that's a decent range. That's a little more than I thought. So with that in mind, I'm realizing like, actually you can use this for a push. You can roll, go invisible even, or just, with any class, disorient them, jump in the air with an SMG and just mow down their heads in melee before they really get a feel of where you are. Again, aggressive play styles usually are what propel the good players to the top of the charts. And aggressive play styles can even mean staying in it if you're the one being attacked. And I love when I can pull off a good play of getting pushed, but I fend them off. And that's because I get a flat out, 1v1 kill with guns, and then I got to reload. So I roll and I'm reloading, and that disorients the next guy following me. And I have the time to kill him as opposed to just standing in a corner reloading and getting shot. So I think this perk has a lot to offer. I'd say maybe it loses a point for giving you kind of like a high mobility stat split, and hunters, I'm kind of tired of the 6 mobility, but what are you going to do? That's what hunters are. And, but yeah, I think it's very usable and very fun.
Well, past that, I got a big list of honorable mentions that are worth calling out. They're not bad. I don't think there is, I love my Knucklehead, but I don't think there is as clear of a dominant choice as there is with Warlocks. But these are just more playstyle specific. We have Foe Tracer, of course. A lot of people love it. Marking enemies is great, especially when people don't really keep track of when they're being tracked and pop out at inopportune times for them. Great times for you because then you shoot them. A lot of people like this one. Graviton forfeit in D2 with the right setup can basically just keep you invisible at all times. Just always invisible. And if that you like being a little sneaky sneak, then certainly there's some mileage there. Lucky Raspberry was one of the first exotics I got in D2. I wore the heck out of it in D1 and rocked it for a while. A little inconsistent with sort of when you get lucky and you get that grenade. But certainly if you're going to be using Arc Strider, it's not a crazy choice. Stompies is interesting. Stompies kind of had a quick rise as the one to use.
Wow.
And
nice pun.
Yeah, that was intentional. I definitely, in that, you've got an increased sprint speed and slide distance, that, just like with transversive steps, that is very helpful, especially if you're going for the flank, you're going for the big reposition. The improved double jump is interesting. And I think this is what has turned a lot of people off of it. The strafe jump for hunters is the one to use. I really love a third jump. I really do. But just the mobility that you get with that strafe jump is hard to beat. The Stompies kind of mess with it a little bit. Mm-hmm. They kind of give you some height and maybe a little bit more height than you wanted. If you're running around doing story missions, then, or, you're in the raid, then that extra height is fine. That extra height is great. But when you're stuck in the air with a hunter jump, it is a great time to get shot. You should be on the ground. And this is great for the sprint and the slide, keeping you ground bound. But it is a bit of a trade-off with that jump. And I think for that reason, they're certainly not nearly as popular as they were in the early days of D2. But still very much a solid choice. I don't know. Did I forget anything? There's you want to run Mechaneer's trick sleeves because you're really into sidearms. I don't know, man. Knock yourself out. Yeah, I think the rest of these are sort of subclass specific ones, or just, you got your Shinobus, you've got your Raiden Flux, that kind of thing. But for me, Knucklehead is the one to beat. Dragon Shadow, Gemini Jester, depending on your play style. I guess really how you like to use your dodge, close competitors. That'd be my recommendation. Time for Titans. Yeah.
Titans are pretty simple. These are going to offer the top two, like U-Bones with Warlocks, are just like pretty great. Like they're good passives that like happen. And the one actually encourages you to have more play with your barricade. So the top one would definitely be Synthoceps, because that extended range on your melee is just so good.
It's kind of crazy. I got Synthoceps recently, and the degree to which it pulls you, like there's nothing quite as funny as putting up a barrier and somebody starts to approach it and you melee them through the barrier. Like your melee
just
pulls
go back
you
through
to bop them and it drops you back off. That's funny. That's funny.
Synthoceps are also really good in this like iteration of Destiny, because you can't one hit melee someone. So you have to kind of double, like hit them a bunch of times. And the Synthoceps, depending on your range, give you such an advantage over your opponent. If you can hit them and be just out of reach of where they can hit you back, you can get multiple melees off, which is usually pretty great.
It is really shocking that in a game where I'm remembering the reveal event where it was like a thing to discover, holy shit, it takes 3 melees to kill if you're only using melee damage. That was like blowing everyone's mind. And then to think that a melee focused exotic is perhaps one of the best in the game. If not the two best exotics are perhaps both are melee focused. I think that's crazy, but it's so cool the way that works out.
Yeah. So Synthoceps are pretty great.
it's, you know, it's great for the air game. Like you have that fantastic air mobility, and to just be able to close the gap that split second sooner counts for a lot.
My favorite way to use them is to jump over someone and turn around and make the melee, because they're obviously disoriented, but I know where they are and I can most definitely make the lunge from wherever I land on the other side of them.
And not just that, the top 2 reviews on Destiny Tracker.
I was just about to read the top one.
You did the top one. I'll do the next one.
Okay. This one's by Plastic C4. If you'd punch anything, including your grandma, these are for you.
Okay.
The next one from Dejexis. It's better than ARMS on the Nintendo Switch.
Nice
I mean,
meme.
come on.
Those are pretty good.
We all love our Syntheseps. One thing I struggle with on Syntheseps is that when you put on the like the nice planetary shaders, you get that crazy glow effect in the veins.
Oh, there's the Osiris shaders do it too.
Okay. So there's that. I actually just kitted out my Syntheseps build on the Titan, and after a lot of deliberation for kind of what it would look like on the whole armor set, it was tough because I love those veins, but I went with monochromatic. Just look cool.
Yeah.
It just looked cool, Bonesy.
You have to build around the color in the veins if you're going to use it.
You do. You really do.
So the other great Titan exotic that I think works amazing is a carryover from Destiny 1, and that is the Crest of Alpha Lupi. And I mean,
it's kind of a carryover from Destiny 1.
It is. Sort of. In addition to giving you an orb of light from your super, it also has a healing pulse when you use your barricade. And like I said, this encourages using the barricade, which is pretty awesome. And there'll definitely be times, especially when I'm like in a flow state and I'm just like, I'm not using my barricade as much as I should. And you kind of get into that like D1 state of mind where you're just like, oh, there's no such thing as abilities. Let me just run around and keep doing the things I do. And then I realize I have a barricade and I can create cover wherever I want. And, you know, it changes things. And I definitely got used to that healing factor when you go ahead and like pop it, and especially after a gunfight, you just put it down and it like completely changes where you're at in that gunfight.
How does the healing pulse work? I've not used this one. Is it like instant, a big boost? Does it last for a while? Does it affect your teammates?
No, it's more so like if you're looking at your health bar, it gives you a third of your health back. Don't quote me on that. Gives you a third of your health back, and then immediately starts your recovery at that point. So
interesting.
You keep going up after that, but it's pretty quick. It happens like instantaneously once you pop it. The problem with that though is like you have that really long. It's not that long, but the really long like proc for your barricade and leaves you kind of out in the open for a second.
See, I kind of like that. I feel like there's got to be some degree of invulnerability or damage reduction while you're trapped in that animation, because it is a long animation. But I feel like if you pop it early enough, you will survive long enough to get that barricade up. So I usually end up using my barricade, actually not too different from the way I use my 100 dodge, which is near the end of a gunfight if I think I'm going to die otherwise, just to get something up in the way, you know, stop the round, and to have that healing pulse there to sort of seal the deal on it. That seems cool. I want one of these.
Yeah. And these are the two that I use the most. At least until I found the one that works very well with my Sunbreaker set, and that's the Hallow Fireheart. And I'm still searching for this on PC. I completely missed the weekend that Sir sold it, and I'm very sad. But it's pretty great paired with your Sunbreaker, because one of the worst things about being a Sunbreaker is that you have not the best, neutral game, but it becomes better when you get it more often. So if you have your super up and you are trying to just like save it for the right moment, wait for that good opportunity to get like a team wipe or capture something or steal heavy, and you're just sitting on it, and you can get those grenades, you can get your abilities back so much quicker. It's pretty awesome. And I love the Howl of Fireheart, but it kind of falls into this like last little, slot where there's a few things that are, pretty niche to a certain subclass or to a certain play style. Yeah. And unlike Alpha Loopy and Synthoceps, you kind of have to like, this is the one you're going to use. If you're going to use this subclass, I'm going to give this a try if I'm, trying to go off or look for a new play style that will, highlight the subclass rather than the class as a whole. So
yeah, this one is interesting to me. I remember the first time you kind of cracked the code on this, and you found just how much faster that recharge rate is and how that plays with the rest of the abilities on the subclass. But this one it's real specific, right? Like we've put some stuff in the honorable mentions that are, they only apply to a certain subclass or a certain play style. This one I think is unique to have made it on the list, but to really be both. Not only does this only make sense for Sunbreakers, obviously, but it also requires a playstyle change, which is that you are going to sit on your super. If you pop your super when you get your super, this is like wearing any other piece of armor. So it's interesting to me that it made it on the list, that it's that good, but it really does require a commitment across the board to using it correctly to reap the benefit of it.
One final thought on the armor, I think here that I've sort of realized as we've discussed them, is the difference in how your mods can relate. And I think this is really going to be what we can focus on. If you're grinding through Destiny and you've been playing since September and you're into building those perfect loadouts, we've got masterwork armor coming, all that sort of thing. There's a future where I've got my Voidwalker armor and my Dawnblade armor, right? And those perks are going to have to make sense, not only just based on solar melee abilities, but what exotic I'm wearing with them. And the two different types of exotics we've talked about today are exotics that give you a passive and make you sort of not worry. And so like Ophidians, like I was saying, I don't have to grind for kinetic reload speed. I can throw on armor and recovery boosts. Or you got a exotic like Alpha Loopy, which is like, okay, this one revolves around my class ability. I want to find as many mods as I can to increase my class ability cooldown and use that exotic more. And I think it's going to be cool to say like, I can get a lot more out of this exotic if I equip 3 mods that benefit it. I think it's true for a lot of Hunter stuff right now too, like Dragon's Shadow or Gemini Jester. It's based on your rolls. So get as many rolls in as possible. Use those mods. I think that's going to be the future of armor collecting and mod matching, is not just, I want to max out my recovery and max out my, resilience. I think there's going to be more to it than that once people figure out this cycle of all these abilities and perks.
Well, those were the top 3, and I don't disagree. There are others that I use, but I'm not going to argue. But I'm wondering, what else is on your list? What are the other honorable mentions for Titan?
So the other honorable mentions would definitely be Peacekeepers, for someone who just likes SMGs.
What about somebody who just got their first legendary kinetic SMG and also just got a Soul Pariah?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna jump in and do Soul Pariah and like Antiope, or what's the other one? The Atalanta.
Yeah.
That seems like a good combo. So give it a try. Peacekeepers is actually pretty decent in PvE. It does pretty good. So
Yep. Never stop shooting.
never stop shooting. It's good for that one guy that one strike boss that turns invisible all the time, the fallen one.
Oh man, that's
And you can
guy.
You could just be real close to him and just switching through your SMGs. That's great. It's great for that. So, but the other honorable mention would definitely be the insurmountable skull fort.
Yeah.
And Birds, I know you really like this one. So why do you like it so much?
I think it looks really cool.
Okay.
My first, and I have some emotional attachment to it. I'm going to make the case through that. This was one of the first, my first PC character was Titan. That was a first for me, doing something other than Hunter. And this was one of my first exotic drops. And when I got it, it was like, all right, let's put together some armor. The armor set that I put together around this remains my favorite Titan set that I've ever had to date. But I just wore it continually, and I started to get used to the perk. The perk on Insurmountable Skull Fort is that if you get a kill with your charged melee, then it triggers your health regeneration right away, and it restores your melee energy. And what that means is that if you use your melee to finish and you get a kill, you keep your melee. And that sometimes isn't obvious. Sometimes you'll go for it and you'll leave them with the sliver of health and you're like, okay, I got to wait for it to build back up again. But this is, I think, both a playstyle and a subclass thing that really does add up. If you are playing an aerial game and you're getting a lot of finishing kills, from your SMG and finishing with that melee, this is a great one to have. I think also subclass wise, if you like to play bottom tree striker, which I've really kind of fallen for recently, that just doubling down on the huge melee perk that you get. I mean, that subclass encourages you to get in people's faces and punch them, and to have your melee charge 24/7 as a result of doing that. It really fits well together. I found it less useful for the shoulder charge type melees just because they're tricky to get a guaranteed kill with compared to your more traditional punch them real hard with electricity kind of thing. Yeah, they just work. It just works pretty well, and it looks really good. You got all the dots on your face. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. It wins some fashion points.
Yeah, the Daft Punk fashion points.
I think Skullfort and Kefri's Horn are like just literally as far as you can get in one fashion scale of Titan helms.
Hey, we've had arms in D1, and we thought maybe there's just bug armor, and now we got Kefri's Horn. Where are my lore nerds? Kepri's a big bug with the first name, right?
Oh yeah, he's a big old bug.
I'm curious as to whether or not Kepri is a bug that like sheds its little outer shell, and we're wearing the shed.
Yeah, like the skeleton. Exo's exoskeleton in Destiny terms. Yeah, there's a big ass bug that people called Kepri. And that's real weird, but no one's talking about it. And we just happen to have his face that Titans wear now. Anyways.
Wear his face on my face.
Yeah. You think the stag is strange.
Just what you do when you want someone's power.
What's the worst exotic for you guys?
Oh, there are so many to choose from.
Just one.
Worst.
There can only be one worst.
Oh. Okay, let's do them by class because I think we'd all probably pick the same one otherwise. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Shout out to Starfire Protocol and the Warlock. What a shame that we don't really discuss multiple classes having sticky grenades that don't do anything.
Yeah, you're gonna need both of those sticky grenades if you ever happen to get them both. And it's still
That's a real tragedy. I had a suggestion. Sirens going off. We don't do this on the show, but suggestion. I had a great idea that fusion and sticky grenades should be one-shot kill like they were, but just like way slower cooldowns.
It was just really hard to get to stick.
Yeah. Maybe like low, low
It's not so
stickiness.
sticky.
Like they work like classic Halo sticky grenades. If they make contact, they stick. But then, you got a much slower cooldown. So you can play like, I'm like an aerial denial guy. I throw down my arc grenades and my sun star, whatever those are called. Or I like that one kill maybe every minute and a half. I don't know, maybe a minute. But continue. This is not important.
All right.
I want my sticky grenades.
It's tough to find a hunter one to truly hate because they all, I could see these all having some utility to someone somewhere.
Come on, for
lead
you.
in some kind
You're
of
not
life.
everyone.
I mean, I feel like Celestial Nighthawk would just be cheating because it just doesn't make sense. I'll just shout him out again. Mechaneer's trick sleeves, like really, like there's not a lot of. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you're really leaning into the last hope, but like sidearms ready and reload.
Yeah, why would you have
pretty
both
quickly
of them though?
Already?
Double sidearm new meta.
Yeah, right. Yeah, finally get some mileage out of that minimum distance you've been holding on to all this time.
I think the Titans win worse though.
Yeah, I feel like we could all have picked a different one and they still all would have been Titan ones.
Like nothing is as bad as Lion Rampant.
I thought they looked cool, man. I thought they were like
Sure,
cool
they
ass
look great,
Iron
man.
Man
They
legs,
got some cool
but
like it's even it's hilarious because it's an exotic that has an ornament too. So it's like here's like another useless part of this exotic armor. Why would you make your Titan less maneuverable? I don't know.
I still say that Dune Marchers are Titan's best looking exotic. Just throwing it out there.
The stand-asides are good looking too, especially this version.
Yeah. I like these a little bit better. Have you used the stand-asides much? I had them drop, but I haven't really tried them.
I have not. I got them. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I would have heard about them if like it was a Juggernaut style level overshield.
I'm just waiting for Hallowfired Heart on PC because I got the sick ornament for it. Makes it look like lava. You look like a lava beast. Like a
lava boy.
Balrog. Trying to look like the Balrog.
Like a Balrog. Wow. You are onto something that's so much more fun to say it that way.
Balrog.
A Balrog.
Balrog.
Anywho.
The actual the movies really didn't do it. Peter Jackson's movies didn't really do it, but the actual way that Balrogs talk is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just Gandalf like, you shall not pass. Yes, I will.
Oh, boy. You notice what we haven't mentioned so far on the show, especially under the worst exotic section, and that is the Aeon trio. And I'd like
trying to
think,
make Aeon work.
I just like what I like to think.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about it working. He just wants a group of people to waste a lot of time.
Birds, I'll do it with
for
you.
Him.
If you finish your work and you decide you're going to come play Trials, I'll do
Okay,
it. We'll see what happens.
We'll be Aeon boys. I think even if you wanted to make them work, because there's a timing thing, right? You kind of have to be close to each other, and you don't want to pop them simultaneously because they give a boost, and you want to get all the benefit from one boost before the next person uses theirs to get the benefit from their boost. But like that charges up half of your whatever your thing. I think they look cool, and I think that they are unique in that they take some of the silly shaders better than other things. Like, I mean, just like with Dust to Dawn on them or whatever that one's called, like it just looks loud and and proud. And I feel like just to see an army of extremely shiny pink armed guardians all closing in around you would be there's something to it, but that I suspect there's just a level of team coordination that neither you or I really have the patience to do.
I still want to do a full team in the raid wearing Aeon and the Rat King and just seeing what happens. It could be fun.
Some fun times.
There's some fun to be had. All right.
I think that's it.
Chatted a while.
That's it.
Folks, know your lists. Please let us know if you have a challenge. I love hearing that. We usually get some good comments, where we say like, oh, I don't really know. I can't see how this would work. And then someone on Reddit or Twitter says like, oh, I use it like this. And then it's a new perspective. So please let us know if you're wearing one of these exotics that we didn't mention. Why do you think it's good? And why are you lying to us? I'm just kidding.
Someone tell me what you can do with Lion Rampant.
I want someone
an up, down, left, right, A, B, start that I gotta press to make it work?
I feel like it just...
You can do a super bounce then.
It just like gives you slightly longer airtime, just like slightly more of a boost. Like you stay...
It's like a placebo. You actually don't stay in the air too long, but it's like... At Bungie, they're laughing at all the people that are actually using it. But like, it doesn't even work.
If I know one thing about Bungie, it's they like tricking people with exotics. So I don't believe that to be the case. That is facetious. Well, boys. Time to wrap it up. Let's wrap it on up. Now, if we went along with this plan, you might be hearing the intro, and this is the very first thing you hear in the episode. So let's play this one straight. Thank you for listening to another episode of Crucible Radio. As always,
pretty happy that my dogs didn't make a bunch of noise this entire time.
I'm kind of surprised.
They've been sleeping.
I heard a little collar jingle. I heard a little like, or like, or what's like the...
That was probably a Neanderthal.
Okay. What's the puppy chuckle? There's like a specific like, of like puppy chuckling.
Like a yawn? That sounds like a yawn.
It's like I feel like I need something from you, but I cannot be bothered to open my mouth up all the way. Like you can see the cheeks puff out for a second, and there's a small that noise. Anyways, as always, you go to Crucible Radio.
You can find more puppies on the space internet, crucibleradio.com. There's plenty of puppies over there. I'm definitely not lying to you. Follow me on Twitter, Swain_CR. There's definitely puppies over there.
I believe it.
Bones_CR. Do you have puppies?
Nope, I got a cat.
All right. A less fun puppy.
My cat might be a dog in disguise. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've met Ray. She might be.
Yeah.
Anywho, what about famous birds?
Yeah, follow me because I'm either not tweeting even a little bit or I am completely addicted in tweeting way too much. That's always fun for everybody.
Did if you see him responding, get back to you?
That's when you ask him for stuff.
I generally do make a point of every week. There's always one or two Birds fans out there who tweet me a question or follow up on something. I always respond to those. So I will not make new tweets. I will not show up in your feed that often unless I'm losing my mind at the time. But I will always say hi and have a bit of a chat. And hey, if you enjoy this show, and I have to assume you do, because otherwise, why would you be listening to this part of the episode?
This is really far into the episode if you don't like us.
Crucible Radio. But look, if you are committed to CR, which you clearly are if you're listening at this point.
I don't know. This might be at the top.
Or you're hearing this because Andrew decided to take us up and get weird with it this week. Go to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. It's been a while since we've done that. I want to read some 5-star reviews at the top of next week's episode. So give us some good ones. Give us some fun stuff, and we will read our chuckliest. We literally write anything you want. Just make sure there's 5 stars attached to it, and we will be happy campers. Well, till next week, boys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. this week. You're hearing it here first. We got the new single from Hawk, friends of the show, friends of Birds Monarchy. Glad to have them. Go check them out. Go to hawkofficial.com, facebook.com/hawkofficial, twitter.com/hawkofficial. Watch the video for this. It's a good video. Anyways, glad to play them. And if you're a musician, we'd like to play your music. And it starts when you send us an email to crucibleradio@gmail.com.
Let it go, just open your eyes. I can't explain when you celebrate. I can't explain when you just
Hello everyone, Swain here. You know that Crucible Radio is your source for all things Destiny PvP, and I know you want more than just this video, so make sure to head on over to crucibleradio.com to find all of our past episodes, detailed Crucible maps, t-shirts, and much, much more.